G'day, Ancient Mahari here. Why can't you stop ruminating? If this is still the case for you, why can't you stop ruminating about the person with BPD in your life? Or that you might think has BPD, NPD? Or you might have been hearing some misinformation out there and believe that BPD is a form of NPD, which is ridiculous. But why can't you stop ruminating? Why can't you stop focusing on them? Number one reason is because if you're not full no contact, you're going to, if you're still in the relationship, or if you're not full no contact, well, you're still going to be dealing with them. They're going to obviously be on your mind. All that's going on, all the ways in which you're getting hurt and upset, still going to go on, right? That's just, I think, common sense. But so if you have had the relationship rupture with a person with BPD, whether they ghosted you or discarded you, or whether you left them, or you're not even sure because they just did this, like it's a ghosting of sort of this silent thing and you don't know what's going on. Well, this is where people have to, I'm keeping it real to Happy Heal here. You got to step up, get into therapy, and invest in yourself and learn how to focus on yourself, as I've said in other videos, and I'll keep saying in videos because it's so important. But why can't you stop ruminating and focusing and dwelling and going over and over and over all the stuff that happened or is happening still, or that you're worried will happen again, but more importantly is happening still or happen with a person with BPD in your life, and especially if you're a BPDX? Well, I've talked about this in many different videos, and people would say, well, you can't stop ruminating and you can't stop focusing because you want them back, or you want this to continue. It's a big part of it, because you know what's underneath this rumination? And people might not want to hear this. Keeping it real here to help you heal. Not always going to be what you want to hear. People choose. People are choosing to still focus on the person with BPD or the BPDX. People might think, oh no, I'm not. I want to get rid of this. I want to get to a place where I never have to think about this again. I don't want to think about him or her ever again. And what are you talking about? Yeah, but maybe unconsciously you don't realize that to be able to let go, to be able to find your own closure, you need to get into therapy. You need to do your healing recovery work for codependency, family of origin, self-differentiation, the wounded inner child, and much more. And learn how to focus on yourself. Because you don't know how to let go. And you don't know how to let go because you have codependency. And that goes back to your childhood and how you're going to work all this out. The bottom line is more people than are aware of it, more people than not. Not everybody's in the same place, but are still ruminating and focusing on the person with BPD so much to the point of feeling like this is driving me crazy. I can't stop it. It happens when I wake up. It happens all day long. It happens all night. Or if I get them off my mind, it's like, but then they're back on my mind again because I think this, I think that, I remember that, or I don't even know why, people will say. And I'm working with clients who said lots of these things for years. I mean, not the same person for years, but different people, right? It's really because a lot of people with codependency don't realize you don't know how to let go. You are still hung up on closure. You are still in your externalized out repetition compulsion cycles of what codependency is, and why you're still seeking something through other. Yeah, it overlaps with BPD. It's not the same, but that sounds a little bit similar and familiar, doesn't it? From like what people with BPD do, driven by different factors, and often they do it differently, right? And not saying what they do is okay, but is what you're doing okay for you? I'm not here to judge that. That's just for you to think about. But please make no mistake about this. For a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but when you can't stop ruminating and you can't stop thinking about them, you are not done. You probably haven't gone full no contact, or even if you have, you're still focusing on them because it's a choice. It's a choice that feels like it's doing something to you. People think the borderline has all this power to keep them or that woman or man with BPD on your mind. Does that mean they have more power and control over you and your mind than you do? It can, in these really unhealthy relationships, but the fact is that's not really true. That's you abdicating your own personal responsibility as a non-cluster B codependent, not consciously, right? And that's you continuing to choose something that you don't understand or aren't consciously aware why you keep choosing it. Make no mistake about it. Rumination is difficult and a part of all this, but when people get into therapy, and I'm out here to work with you if I resonate with you, when people get into this process where I help people, I've been doing this for 31 years now, to heal and recover, people will find out why they've been choosing to focus on the borderline to the exclusion of themselves and increasing their pain. I'm not saying anyone increases their pain on purpose, but you're giving too much control to the person with BPD and you're abandoning yourself. The codependent reality of rumination and why you just can't stop is because you don't really want to stop. Unconsciously, you really don't want to stop. You're not done. You're still in there somehow, unconsciously or otherwise, to some degree, for some reasons that you're only going to be able to really figure out and understand, not by watching millions of videos, mine and or everybody else's. Not by reading a ton of books. No, you have to invest in yourself. You have to get into a process of healing and recovery, and you need to want to go deep because that's your way through. That's your way to how you're going to stop the rumination, how you're going to go full no contact, how you're going to stop thinking about them all the time, because this is something that you are unconsciously, if you're still in this area and you have codependency, non-cluster B with codependency, you're doing this because you're not finished. And of course it's hard to be, it takes time to process, to be able to let things go, to be able to work things through, to understand all of it. But trying to do that up here only does nothing for your broken heart, does nothing for your wounded soul, does nothing for your emotional landscape and all of that incredible pain that if I sat here and put 90 adjectives to, it wouldn't even be describing it for you, right? So the point is, you can't stop ruminating because you don't want to. Now, consciously you probably are going, are you out of your mind? Of course I want to. This is driving me nuts. But unconsciously, there's something about your family of origin, why you have codependency, there's connectors there, and you're not done. And you're not ready to let go or work through the process. And if you're not in therapy doing this right now, the rumination is going to continue. And you're going to continue to find ways from your internal critic or from what the borderline said, because you're giving it too much power and you're not helping yourself out. You're going to continue to find ways to judge yourself and blame yourself. And but oh, they said this. So what they said? What about what you know? What about what you think? And I'm just passionate here because I'm here to keep it real, to help the people that want to go on this journey with me to truly heal. Because guess what? A lot of people out there with codependency, oh, you're not going to like this message if you listen to me this far. You can't stop ruminating because you can't let go. Because you don't want to let go. Because you're still in codependent denial. So there aren't enough videos in the world to make you change that, or to help you really even change that. And there aren't enough books. You need therapy. And you need to understand, and it's going to be painful to work it through, but then it's going to be very relieving and you're going to be able to move through it. So people that feel like, and there's so many people that are so stuck in this rumination, this focus on, this continued thinking about, well, is she going to contact me? Is he going to do this? Are they going to do that? Why'd they do that? Oh, we see each other. Do you know how many people on this channel have left comments, and I'm not judging, or how many people I've worked with in the last 31 years that have said to me, yeah, I went no contact. And I'll say, full no contact? And they'll go, yeah, I went full no contact. and they'll describe it, right? And maybe it all sounds good at the time, and I'm not saying people aren't trying to tell me the truth, etc. But then the next thing they'll say is, and people will comment on the channel, which is fine, go ahead, I'm not judging you. Will say, well, but like, she called me last Tuesday, and it was because of, and whatever it was about, right? But like, if you're still ruminating, if you're still focused on them, if you still don't know what's going on, if you're still not in therapy, if you're still not focusing on yourself, it's because you aren't finished and you don't want to. And that's keeping it real to help you heal, because I'm not saying consciously you're aware of that. Some people are. I've had clients say it straight up to me. And some people it's in the unconscious. But that's what's driving your pain. And the thing that codependents have to realize is no matter what the borderline or the narcissist or whatever you think they are, no matter what they've done to you, horrific things, I know. That's their responsibility, yes. You're not at fault for that. But if you keep giving them the power of why you can't stop thinking about them, why you can't stop ruminating about them, then you're disempowering yourself. You're negating and abandoning yourself. You're giving all your power away to this person with BPD or NPD or whatever you think they have. That and more, and or squished together. Whatever your concept of all this is matters so not much compared to what you need to learn, if you're not yet, in a process of therapy to really understand what codependency really does mean. And like I've said in videos before, and I'll continue to say, I'm going to have much more coming on that in the next couple months, but not on this channel. So, and there's reasons for that. But if you'd like to work with me in the meantime, of course, clients get the inside scoop when they're working the process. So make no mistake about it. Lots of people say they're full no contact or they've gone no contact, but it's not full no contact. Or you're doing the stealth reverse Hoover to the social media. People do that a lot too. I just can't help it, people say. Well, guess what? People with codependency have to take their own responsibility for their own healing recovery. Stop giving all the power to the borderline. So you're giving power to the borderline like a parent had power over you, which people with BPD are doing in a different way too. Disempowering, they've been disempowered, and then they project that all over you, and it's an unhealthy bond, and it's a crazy situation, and these aren't relationships. They're not possible. They're unhealthy bonds. So make no mistake about it. If you're codependent today, and whether you just started therapy or you're not in therapy, or you think there's some 3 steps you can do or 4 steps you can do and you'll magically be fine, or going to Codependence Anonymous, that'll do it. No, not at all. Codependency is so much more formidable and painful than that. Please realize that if you realize nothing else from this video. And again, I'm going to say it. If you're still thinking about them all the time, the person with BPD, the NPD, the BPD-X, the whatever you think they are, and you might not know, but whatever you think, if you're still ruminating and focusing, you're not done. And consciously or unconsciously, you want to focus on them, even though it's really hurting you. There's a part of you that can't let go. I would suggest get into therapy, find out what that is, work it through, because it's not that you're that helpless. It's not that you're not making choices. And people make choices unconsciously all the time. And what happens in therapy, and when I work with people, and if you resonate with me, I help people to become aware and bring to the consciousness what's in the unconscious, because we only live so much of our lives above the water in the iceberg model, right? And like Jung says, of course, if you don't bring it to consciousness, and that Jung talks about that. But the other quote is, what we resist will persist. So there are choices all the way along in why people with codependency are suffering greatly. I understand that. And this is a compassionate message. Keeping it real to help you heal, though, that you have more control and agency over this. And it's not just happening to you because of this, that, and the other thing. It's happening because you're not done. It's happening because you're not disinvesting. It's happening because you're not in therapy. It's happening because you don't know how to focus on yourself. And it's happening because consciously or unconsciously, or a part of you wants it to be happening, that the person with BPD is on your mind, that you can't stop ruminating. Because what does it do? It protects you from going through the next step through to get into therapy and to start learning how to focus on yourself. So you can't blame the borderline for everything. You can, but you're not going to get anywhere doing that. So I meant that with compassion, keeping it real to help you heal. And I hope maybe that will give people some food for thought, pause for thought. Think about it today. Because this isn't just happening to you anymore. You're part of this too, and you have responsibility in it. Take your responsibility. Get yourself into therapy and really learn how to let go and how to stop the ruminating and how to stop the focus and how to really go no contact and stay no contact. How to take care of you is what you really need to learn. Videos aren't going to teach it to you and books aren't going to teach it to you. You have to be in a therapeutic process so that you can get down deep into the work of understanding family of origin, wounded inner child, self-differentiation, so much more. Take care.